let's start with the busiest person in the league, our senior insider, Charania. Shams, as I have been walking through the studio, my phone has been vibrating with your reporting, with your updates here. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I have some news for you guys. Free agent guard D'Angelo Russell has agreed to a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Sources tell ESPN. Co-heads of CA basketball, Aaron Mintz, Austin Brown, reached an agreement, as well as the Mavericks officials here tonight. So this gives Dallas a stopgap at point guard. He's going to have a significant role, especially when Kyrie Irving will miss at least half of the upcoming NBA season. So D'Angelo Russell going to the Mavericks, 2 years, $13 million.
D'Angelo Russell to the Dallas Mavericks. Legs, what do you think of this?
Well, first of all, I think that's a bargain of $6.5 million a year. Really, D'Angelo Russell still can score. And I think for me, he said stopgap. That's a good word. I just look at it as a solution to the Kyrie Irving problem. We don't know when we're going to see Kyrie Irving again, but they still have Anthony Davis. They brought in Cooper Flagg. This is a team that wants to get out of the gate. They don't want to be buried behind a bunch of teams in the West. To me, D'Angelo Russell is about as good as you're going to get on the market right now, and that's obviously a great number.
I mean, with Kyrie being out, you get a guy who averaged 18 points a game 2 years ago, about 17 points a game the year before, and then last year had a down year. So this is a guy who can definitely score, struggles to defend, but you have those wing defenders. You have those Najee Marshalls. You have those Cooper Flaggs, those Caleb Martins. You have AD, so you have guys that can cover that. I love this move for them.
There's not a ton of free agent dollars on the market now. There's two teams that have significant space. That's Brooklyn and Detroit. So some of these free agents are going to have to take maybe a little bit of a pay cut. Certainly this is the case for D'Angelo Russell. So if you're going to take a pay cut, pick a spot where you have a really good fit, and that's the case here. He's going to walk into a starting job, have a big role for a team that figures on being a Western Conference contender if Kyrie Irving can get healthy later in the season.
The Dallas Mavericks have had a really interesting sort of offseason even so far, adding Cooper Flagg as well.
Yeah, if you look at Dallas, they are probably one of the most upwardly mobile teams in the whole league because they get Cooper Flagg, who we all think is going to be an impact player. They've got Anthony Davis coming back healthy this fall, and they've got a really good set of role players that they can either use or use in additional trades coming forward in the offseason.
I was hoping we were going to be going back to Shams now, but the way that this free agency goes, he's already off to the races. He's working on something right now. Usually, Brian, we don't start our free agency shows with a player opting into a player option. But this isn't just any player. It is LeBron James. He exercised his $52.6 million option. But this is what caught everyone's attention. It's what his agent, Rich Paul, told our Shams Charania. Quote, LeBron wants to compete for a championship. Brian, you said this well on the Hoop Collective podcast. Okay, fine. Yes, of course he does. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. Okay, that makes sense. He understands that, but, and that is a big but, he values a realistic chance at winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeannie and Rob and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. That but holds a lot of weight there, Brian.
Yeah, so he opted into his contract, so he's committed to returning to the Lakers. He has a no-trade clause, which he can not only control where he would go, but who he would get traded for, which makes any sort of LeBron trade unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely. So really what Rich is saying here is LeBron would like to see the Lakers get off to a very good start in free agency. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's been a couple of transactions out of the gate, and the Lakers have lost a player and replaced him with a player.
About Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's right. Dorian Finney-Smith is, according to Shams, is going to leave the Lakers. He was a really big acquisition last winter. He's going to sign with Houston on a 4-year deal, leaving the Lakers. And they have, according to Shams, replaced him with Jake LaRavia, a younger player, less accomplished, another 6'8" wing who will fill in the role, but again, less accomplished. Maybe it'll end up being a great signing, but if you're LeBron, who's talking about whether the Lakers are going championship moves, this isn't a move that's going to make you feel super great just yet. It's just the beginning. We're an hour in.
I personally don't think he's going anywhere. I never really thought that he was. The interesting thing about this was typically in this situation, a guy would say, I'm opting in because this situation gives me the best chance to win a championship. He opted in, and then immediately the language was like, but are they going to do enough to make sure I have a chance to compete for a championship? I think LeBron James made a decision a long time ago to go to L.A. It had more to do than just basketball. He's settled there. That's where he wants to be. I think that's where he's going to finish his career. And look, by the way, You still do have Luka Doncic next to you, and I know they only had half a year ago. It didn't work out the way they wanted. You've got one of the best players in the NBA next to you now with a full season to hopefully get some things done in L.A.
He's not going anywhere. Like, I will tell you this straight up, first of all. I know LeBron James. This is LeBron James flexing his muscle. This is LeBron James using what he has as a superstar to hold the organization accountable. As a player, we are held accountable. When we don't win, there is a conversation with us about winning. As a player, when you get to the level that LeBron James has gotten to, if you won as many championships, you have the right to have a conversation with the upstairs about what it takes to win. I think there needs to be a collaboration on where we're going, what we need to win, but also on the other side, we have a young superstar who also is the future of this organization. There's two sides to this, but Bron is not wrong. He only has a few more years, and in those few more years, he needs to be put in a situation to win.
How many times before, Brian? 8 times, 9 times has LeBron been in a situation where he has the opportunity to opt into a contract? And basically every other time, he's opted out, he's restructured. There's been something that has happened that's more than just opt into a deal. That's also curious.
This is where it is different. He has had player options in his last 8 contracts, dating back to 2006 when he signed his first extension. He has never used them. He has always opted out of the contract. 3 times he switched teams, and then the other times he signed new contracts. In fact, that's happened twice with the Lakers. In this case, he opted into his contract. So for the first time in 23 seasons, Malika, LeBron is on an expiring contract. For the first time in 23 seasons, he will start a season where he is not the franchise player.
What's going on in the Mile High City?
Malika, we have a major trade for Nikola Jokic's Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. is being sent to the Brooklyn Nets along with an unprotected 2032 first-round pick for Cam Johnson.
Wow.
So Nikola Jokic at the wing will now have Cam Johnson, who got a ton of interest this past season. The Nets had multiple offers for first-round pick for Cam Johnson. They trade him to the Nuggets now, and Michael Porter Jr. now goes back to Brooklyn with an unprotected first-round pick. This is a major jolt, major change to the Nuggets. We've seen this team the last few years ride it out with the same group. They are making a pretty massive change at the wings.
A massive change here for the Denver Nuggets. Shams, thank you so very much for that insight. I think about, Brian, Nikola Jokic at the end of the season, basically as loudly as we've ever heard Nikola say, we're not a championship team. And I don't think he meant it as a slight towards anyone in particular, but that's about as pointed as the MVP has gotten in previous years.
Yeah, and this is a big move for Denver. This is the biggest transaction they've made in years. Cam Johnson was pretty much the most coveted wing on the trade market. Teams have been trying to get Cam out of Brooklyn for a year now. He is a high character guy, plays both ends of the court, shoots the three well. And if I'm not mistaken, and Bobby Marks can back me up, I think he makes a salary that potentially would give them some wiggle room, which is one of the reasons why I think they paid a first-round pick here in addition to Michael Porter Jr.
And I think the biggest part of this is that he can play both sides of the floor. Michael Porter Jr. is a guy who can fill it up. We understood that in the finals when we played against him. This is a guy who we need to pay attention to. But on the defensive end, in my opinion, the wing defender is one of the most important defensive positions in the league. You have to be able to have those Swiss Army knife guys that can switch, guard 1 through 4, sometimes 5, and go on the other end and make shots. Michael Porter could make shots, but he cannot do what Cam can do on the defensive end. I love this move. They need that defensive on the perimeter.
This, to me, is a huge move for Denver. To me, this is a major upgrade because Michael Porter Jr., look, I know he had the shoulder injury down the stretch of the season. That really hurt his performance. He just could not be consistent offensively. But on the defensive end of the floor, he was a guy that got better throughout his career, but was still picked on quite a bit. You have now upgraded defensively. Basically a guy that's almost the same size, much more consistent, catch-and-shoot shooter. He can also put it down a little bit, create offense. But I think more than anything else, it's the consistency factor. Denver felt a little bit stale to me, and this was a team that took the champions to 7 games. So they know they're still in the mix in the West, but they had to do something significant to change up their core. They have upgraded it. I think this is a great move for Denver.
They've had changes up and down, really, including in their front office, their head coach, and now we're seeing changes to their roster as well, Brian.
Yes, this is a big move from their front office. And again, I will rely on Bobby, but I think this reduces their payroll by about $13 million. Brooklyn was able to do this. They're using some of their salary cap space, assuming this is a straight-up trade. And again, it might open Denver's ability to acquire another player. So this is a move that not only that they believe probably upgrades and gets a better two-way starting five, but also could add another piece.
There's a real arms race in a crowded Western Conference right now, and to me, this move says that Denver knows they needed to make a change, and they did that because, to your point, Legs, their championship window, even though Oklahoma City has the potential to be a dynasty, they very much feel as long as they have Nikola Jokic, it is open. Speaking.
I'm on fire. It's 88 over here.